Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here. So, 2025 is about to come to an end, which means it is that time of year once again to do my yearly recap of what we got for The Sims 4 over the past year, as well as what I would like to see most for next year. And I guess this is the last time I'll be doing this traditional video, at least for The Sims, because of that EA buyout that is supposed to complete sometime late spring, early summer 2026. They haven't said an exact day, but when that is fully completed, I plan on stopping doing Sims content completely. However, I would still like to continue doing my traditional yearly recap. It'll just be for a different game. I did one for Disney Dreamlight Valley. That was really fun to do, so it could be that. It might be Paralive, since I plan on having that be the focus of my channel once early access is out, but we'll see. It could even end up being both games. We'll just see how 2026 unfolds. But for now, let's reminisce about the past year for The Sims one last time. I wish I had more positive things to say, but it is a shame that this year went so sour, because this was the 25th anniversary of the Sims franchise. It should have been a glorious year for The Sims, but instead it feels like the beginning of the end as we know it. Starting in January, normally that's a pretty slow month for gaming because people have spent so much money over the holidays that it's usually a terrible idea to release anything big during that month. But The Sims was like, nope, we're gonna go absolutely wild and release 5 kits in 1 month. Yeah. First, towards the middle of the month, they released Casanova Cave and Secret Sanctuary, which were themed around Don Lothario and Bella Goth, and both of them have cast and build instead of just one or the other. And then there was also Comfy Gamer, which was a build kit collab with Little Simsy. And then towards the end of the month, they released 2 creator kits, Refined Living Room by Pierre Sim and Business Chic by Madeline, which are build and create a sim respectively. I'd say out of these ones, the Comfy Gamer kit was my personal favorite since, well, I mean, I'm a gamer myself, so it directly appealed to me. But what were they thinking, releasing so many kits so close together? They could have spread them out a bit better over the course of the year. I feel bad for Pierre Sim and Madeline because their creator kits were overshadowed literally 1 day later by EA finally doing the thing, re-releasing The Sims 1 and The Sims 2 in the Legacy Collection. Unfortunately, both of these re-releases were riddled with bugs on launch. They did quite a few patches. I'm not sure how they are now. I haven't seen any more patches for them in months, so I don't know if it is in a pretty stable state now or what's going on with that, but I need to play with those more. As badly as they wanted us to open our wallets during the month of January, we did get a couple of freebies too, because we got an update that gave us yet another redesign of the main menu. And they also made it so that when you start a new save, there will be updated versions of all the pre-made houses in Willow Creek and Oasis Springs. At least the ones that are inhabited by Sims. The empty ones haven't been updated still. But yeah, just a nice little thing to try and make the game a little bit more up to date with all the content that we got over the past 11 years. We also got freebies in February with the Blast from the Past event that gave us items that were various nods to the series history, such as landlines that don't function for some reason, the buffet table, a functional alarm clock, the dance floor that kind of reminds you of the Sims House Party, along with the inflatable couch and chair from that expansion pack, and also the birthday cake that you can have a sim pop out of. Thankfully, we didn't just get the event though. We also got a whole bunch of items in a free update that ranged from create a sim to build by, even a full kitchen set, which is really nice because especially for those who build only with base game, it's pretty tiring just using the same stuff over and over and over again since 2014. Then it was time for Motherload season, our first full roadmap for 2025. So Businesses and Hobbies was also announced during February, with that release happening on March the 6th. So definitely a little sooner than I thought for the first expansion pack of 2025. Turns out this was made by the Maxis Europe team that had worked on a couple of the last stuff packs, and we haven't seen any stuff packs since then. And they're rumored to be working on a royalty expansion pack for next year. But Businesses and Hobbies, the name isn't the most fitting one for this pack. When this leaked, I first thought that we were going to be getting a hobbies pack, much like The Sims 2 Free Time, with more of a business angle, but it ended up being more like the opposite, where it was very focused on businesses with not really that many new hobbies. The pack idea was kind of intriguing in concept still, but it borrows heavily from previous packs. Like, we already had businesses with Get to Work and some other packs, but then instead of it being a retail store, it's a small business. And the whole system of operating the business, deciding what your employees and customers do, borrows heavily from the club system from Get Together. While my personal experience with it hasn't been that great, I think this was still the most positively received expansion pack of this year. And I almost forgot to mention, around the same time, we got Burglars, finally! That was an NPC that has been very high on my Sims 4 wishlist for years. So glad we got them now. There's just like a missing element of danger for this life sim that's been missing for a good long time. A nice detail is that there are some different ways to get rid of a burglar. Like with my spellcaster here, he used Zip Zap on the burglar to get his stolen fireplace back. So yeah, that's a nice way of giving a little bit more depth than what was there before. Alongside the burglars, we also got more customization options for tattoos, some more tops, recolors of the existing base game counters, as well as giving an overhaul for the mentorship feature. One other thing that happened in March was the re-release of the My Sims Cozy Bundle on PC, so it was no longer exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. I played the original My Sims on the Switch version and My Sims Kingdom on PC, and it was actually a pretty smooth experience overall. I don't remember running into many glitches. It went over much better than the Sims 1 and 2 Legacy Collection. April brought us 2 creator kits: Sweet Allure, a Create a Sim kit by A Harris 00 Brittany, one of my favorite custom content creators, and Sleek Bathroom by Ciboulette, which is of course a build kit. Both of these I think were pretty decent kits. I still stand by my opinion that kits are overpriced in proportion to stuff packs, but yeah, I think they had some pretty decent content. We were also surprised in April with a Sims Delivery Express drop that gave us some free Pride-related content. So this was pretty cool in my opinion, because instead of just waiting until June, as is the typical thing, they gave us this in April with the message of show your pride every day. The items themselves I think are pretty nice too, ranging from Create a Sim to Build Buy. I love especially that we got both a single and double bed. On the very first day of May, we got 3 kits at once: the Golden Years Create a Sim kit, and Kitchen Clutter and Restoration Workshop build kits. Restoration Workshop was the one that stood out to me the most, since it pushed slightly closer to gameplay kit territory than your usual build kit, because it came with some objects that were broken to begin with. And I don't mean in the glitchy sense, I mean broken. Not able to function until you restored them. With that roadmap coming to an end, it was time for another, mostly revolving around Enchanted by Nature, the second expansion pack of 2025. There was also the Nature's Calling event that tied into it, as well as a couple of base game updates. Enchanted by Nature is messy in its execution. The world of Inniscreen didn't feel like it was actually all that great for trying to live off the land, because it did bring back fairies, which was highly requested, but then also there was this natural living skill, which I think was an attempt to broaden the appeal of the expansion pack beyond the occult players. But I don't know. I don't feel like natural living really made things that much more interesting, except maybe making rags to riches too easy. But yeah, they should have really just gone full on supernatural. Like, they could have done more with plant sims than what they did add, and have like another creature too, perhaps. Like, maybe have unicorns without needing horse ranch. You could have unicorns with actual powers and not just a horn accessory. Yeah, I think they could have done this way better. I think Sulani and Henford-on-Bagley are much better worlds for trying to live off the land. The free update alongside Enchanted by Nature gave us improvements to the sim inventory. The notebook got revamped, so it actually looks more like a notebook now and overall functions better. And they revamped the UI for the household collections menu, and we got glass walls and the ability to place plants on rooftops. The other free update gave us more skin details, including wrinkles and age details, stretch marks, freckles, and rosacea. Unfortunately, this also introduced the pack selection option. I almost forgot about this one, but this one broke a whole ton of mods, but even the feature itself was pretty broken. They have fixed it, but I just don't trust it, really. But even though, for some odd reason, they don't like listing creator kits on the roadmap, it looked like we were going to go kit-free this quarter, but no, we got 2 of them. The Essential Glam Kit by Cryptic Sim, which was all focused on makeup, and Grange Mudroom, the build kit by Peacemaker. Definitely an interesting concept to get a kit dedicated to makeup, since we don't get makeup all that often, and it does also lean more into the niche direction of kits in general. After that, this is where things get really rough. There was no roadmap officially released, there was a leaked one, and then they just never bothered to release one themselves. But the main focus of this final quarter was Adventure Awaits, the final expansion pack of 2025. I still haven't played all that much of it yet, and I'll talk more about that one in a minute. You can probably already guess. But what I can say is it does some wish fulfillment, because it does give a bunch of activity-related objects that I've wanted for a long time, like the return of the classic diving board and the pool slide, also archery, and the playground objects, which actually went above and beyond for me because there was like a whole modular system rather than only separate objects. We also got kayaks, so we got another boat type. We got a couple more water lots. We got the blender, the exercise bike, dumbbells, functional ones, unlike that one pose from the dating app in Lovestruck. And yeah, so there is some cool stuff on that front. The getaway system, from what I've seen, is pretty messy. I don't know if it works better now as of the recent updates. And speaking of trying to fix things, they have made numerous statements about the save corruption, and they fixed 1 or 2 instances of it, but they're still working on it, and I'm still not convinced that they will completely fix it. They were already attempting damage control earlier in the year, and they did actually fix a whole lot of bugs, but you could tell they were trying to damage control even more after it was announced, bad timing, just before Adventure Awaits released, that EA was getting bought out by a combination of Saudi Arabia's private investment fund, as well as Jared Kushner, who is affiliated with the Trump family. So that really has drained my enthusiasm and has felt just like a huge storm cloud looming over the Sims community ever since then. I've already talked at length in previous videos about why this EA buyout is such a horrible thing, and now many creators, including myself, have left the EA Creator Network. I left shortly after the Autumn Apparel Kit release. I turned down the review code for that, and I haven't bought it or any of the DLC after that, so I can't really say for sure if any of these other ones are any good. Though I did speak a little bit already about the not 1, but 2 SpongeBob kits. Like, this feels like another Journey to Rabbit Hole situation, or Journey to Batu, or the proper name for it. But yeah, like this already would have been bad enough if the buyout was not happening, but wow, just just horrifically bad timing again. I know SpongeBob was making the rounds because of that new movie and promoting it and all that stuff. There was even that Sonic Racing Cross Worlds collab that I covered that I think was done better than these two kits. But geez, what a way to end the year. For free content drops, we got not one, but two events. There was the Forever Friends event, which runs very similar to many of the recent events. And there's the Deck the Palms, where you're just logging in. So that one is still ongoing for a little bit. So, yep, those are things that exist. There's even a couple of SpongeBob items in the Deck the Palms event, and a few items that require packs in order to actually unlock them, which is a controversial choice. Just before Adventure Awaits, we did get a free update that finally gave us a bassinet designed for mermaids. We got the Play Pretend interaction for children, a UI update for event planning. We also got that memory boost mode, which is still in early access. That's meant to improve performance. I haven't tried it myself yet. I'm scared that will mess up my game somehow, but yeah, that is also a thing. We did also get a content drop featuring content inspired by West Africa. That was really nice. So I'm glad we got some more representation there. It is still pretty sad that we don't have any worlds inspired by any part of Africa, though. That basically covers it for The Sims 4 in 2025. If the buyout was not happening, then in retrospect, the year doesn't seem quite as bad. Like, there definitely were some things that went wrong, some bad decisions, but definitely the EA buyout makes things so much worse. Now my wish list for 2026. Things are pretty weird, not just because of the buyout, but allegedly The Sims 4 as we know it is ending next year, and there will be this Project X, which is not exactly The Sims 5, but it's, I don't know, it sounds like it's more like a souped up version of The Sims 4, which will be a new base game, and it'll have some compatibility, at least with previous DLCs, and we'll have some things at the start that were not there for The Sims 4 when it first came out. So now what? Well, if this new base game is really that similar to The Sims 4, then I think everything on my wish list could also be applicable to whatever this new thing is going to be called. So most of my wish list is the same. We did get some things that I wanted, like some of the activities that I already talked about with Adventure Awaits. We got burglars finally, so that's a big thing. But there's still things that I would like to see, such as bands, hotels, and of course, cars. Of course, I still would like to see cars, but I think that will definitely be saved for this new game because it is allegedly going to have open neighborhoods, so cars would serve more of a function there. So it's like, okay, yeah, cars could still happen, just not exactly in the way for Sims 4 that I would have imagined. I still would like to see an African-inspired world. It's just hard to decide what part of Africa I would like to see first, because it would be pretty difficult to represent the whole continent of Africa with just one world. I don't feel like doing the Windenburg approach is the best way. I feel that doing at least 2 or 3 different worlds inspired by different regions of Africa would make sense. So we could have one world that's inspired by Morocco, because they already have that Courtyard Oasis kit inspired by Morocco, and we have that recent content drop that gave us West African inspired content, so it makes sense to do a world inspired by that too. But above all else, yes, that's right, for once cars is not the #1 thing on my wish list. I would like to see The Sims be sold off to a more ethical company. extremely slim chance of that happening. I know The Sims makes EA a lot of money, but hey, it's a wish list. It's not supposed to always be entirely realistic. It's stuff that I want to see happen. I'll wrap things up here, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What were your favorite and least favorite parts of this year, and what would you like to see happen with The Sims in the future? And be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to y'all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.